everybody? We are back. Kicking at StateSide. The boys are here after a 3-month layoff.
I haven't heard you say what's up, everybody, in a while, man.
I know. It feels feels pretty good to be back. I mean, we were recharging the batteries, I think, as they like to say.
Of life.
Yeah. I was thinking about soccer. Not like too much has gone on, but there has so much been going on in life in the world since we've last spoke. But I'm sure we'll get into that later. I didn't even put yellow card, red card segment because I think everybody knows what the red card will be at the end of the show. So I didn't even put it in the our usual format. But besides that, the good news is soccer's back.
Soccer's back, which means we're back. And
the boys are back.
Yeah, man. I missed everybody. I missed our time, and I'm really glad that we're back doing this and where we need to be. So thanks to Tom and everybody at A2D for sticking with us and letting us figure out everything in this crazy world. And we're back, guys. We are back.
Yeah, just being patient with everything that was going on, and obviously with no sports, it's hard to pick and choose what you want to talk about. I mean, there's just so little at the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everybody understands too. There was a lot of other underlying factors.
Yeah,
life going on and finances and uncertainty. So we had to do what we had to do in our end, but I think we're all kind of getting back on track here.
We're all getting back to normal. Quotes up. So, with that being said, today we will talk about a little bit of the Prem, obviously. The update will give you what's going on. Obviously, with the June 17th restart, the Prem has given the go-ahead. Also, the Bundesliga has been going on since probably, the first Saturday in May-ish?
Yeah, the 16th, I believe, was our return date.
Yeah, second Saturday in May. I think they're on their third week. But they also squeezed in midweek, so they're on their fourth this weekend, right? Does that make sense?
Actually, this weekend, everybody's playing their fifth, I believe.
Fifth game, okay.
Yeah, they're into there because they were squeaking them in. So yesterday was the first team's fifth game, and then today and tomorrow is everybody else's. So.
Right on, yeah. And again, to piggyback off that, from what we're going to talk about as far as the Prem squeezing at, you thought the condensed schedule that we were talking about back in December, New Year's, was a condensed schedule. What they're going to have coming up, squeezing it all in. I looked at the first, at least, again, what we'll be talking about, the first, 2 fixtures that were confirmed. It's just, you're playing.
It's nonstop.
You're playing a Saturday. You're playing then a Wednesday. It's.
Yeah, well, that'll go into our one topic, which is the changing of the substitution rules,
right?
And how the benefit, I guess, to that. I feel the benefit of that with the accelerated schedule. There's definitely going to be more need to get guys in and out and rested and things along those lines. So
yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely dive heavily into that because I'm sure a lot of people have some opinions on. You probably have the old soccer heads that are like, come on, why are you going to change the 3 sub rule to 5? But it is what it is.
Remember the good old days when there weren't 0.
You're running a full 90, boy.
Yeah, that was it. You're hurt. You played with 10. Sorry.
You're coming out. Yeah. And also, with the Bundesliga being back, kind of I know we didn't really touch on these leagues much during the show when we were back in March, but obviously La Liga and Serie A got the go-ahead to start as well. Also, I want to talk about our good old U.S. men's national team a little bit.
Yes, yes.
We got the Yanks abroad. It's a new, maybe like a segment, with Josh Sargent playing overseas in the Bundesliga. Obviously, Weston McKennie's on Schalke.
Yeah,
We
we got
got,
a pretty deep run of guys playing over in the Bundesliga right now. There's a solid 20, I think.
yeah, I mean, honestly, it seems to be the way to go. If you're a good player, really in anything, and you want to have some good, they're going to play if you're young, right? In
Oh yeah,
Germany, it seemed like, you saw with Pulisic. You see it. I don't want to talk about it too much right now, but you see it with Gio Reyna. He's 17 years old, and
yeah,
he's in first team minutes with Dortmund.
yeah. He's played in a Champions League game. I mean,
Exactly, and scored a goal.
yeah, you're not getting that kind of exposure here. So as much as we love our league, for them to be able to go over there and produce it's a whole nother level.
We love our MLS. Speaking of the MLS,
Oh my God, there's a lot to talk about there too.
the MLS apparently has, I guess, some plan in place. It's kind of
It sounds like a
gray
tournament,
area-ish.
basically. Yeah, some kind of tournament style, supposedly coming in July.
Right.
They just settled on this CBA that apparently we thought was settled back in February, and then it was never basically finalized. Unfortunately, it was never ratified with everything that happened. So they've gone back now and touched on that, and they are going to be playing. There's going to be some losses. Yeah, it sounds like 100. They said 100 million in losses, or nipped out over the next 5 years because they never ratified it when they had the opportunity. So, but unlike baseball, they're still going to be showing up and they're still going to be playing. They found a way. So we will be getting some kind of more information on that, but there will be a tournament, it sounds like.
Get it together.
Down in Orlando, just like the basketball. So it sounds like it's going to be at Disney as well.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's back training at their home facilities for the most part if you're local and you're able to do so, and more to come soon. So we can get more into that. Got a few good quotes from some guys around the league too. So
Yeah, of course, at least my boy, Alejandro Bedoya, I saw he had at least, he was talking to the media yesterday for a good 3 minutes. I didn't get to see what he had to say, but I'm sure he's never been one to shy away from speaking his mind.
we saw that
seen.
early in this show. Yes.
But yeah, so a lot to dive into.
Yeah.
So obviously, before we start, today, sponsored by, of course, our boys at Ambuck Services. They got the gutter cleaning, deck restoration. Maybe trim your trees, your shrubs. It's summertime. You got to make everything look real nice. We're in the yellow in PA. You're allowed to have people over now, apparently.
Yeah. You want people to look. You want it to look good when they come over.
That first time, you're like, damn, who'd you go to? Yeah, Ambuck. So you could reach them at 856-879-5530. Again, ambuckservices.com. Check them out. Also,
it sounds like they're doing some contactless stuff as well. Everything's going to be under the CDC guidelines for everybody that's worried about that. So,
absolutely. Also, Paul Vidal, our specialized physical therapy, the man.
Yeah, people are going to need it now, man, with all this sitting around.
Yeah.
Getting yourself, got to get yourself back in shape. You might need a little bit of therapy going. I know in the beginning I was pulling things left and right.
That first time you go out after 3 months, you're like, oh, get a little injury. Figured out with Paulie Vidal, located in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton.
Yeah, many locations
in New Jersey.
Physical therapy, so a
So,
lot of the area we cover.
Exactly. So, to get into it, the Prem, our babies, they're back. June 17th. We have, like Brian and I were discussing before we came on air, those first 2 games right on that Wednesday the 17th are those makeup games, correct?
Yes. Arsenal, of course, let's hop right back in and
let's go
out to the Etihad and
let's go. Your first game's against City.
Yeah, on the road, beautiful.
Perfect for that fighting for that 4th spot.
Yeah, that's a 3:15 Wednesday game, so everybody will be around to watch that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm waiting for NBC to come out with a schedule. I guess maybe this week coming up to give us what games.
I mean, even with Bundesliga coming back, they weren't like heavy advertising for FS1 with their games, but they're on.
Yeah, they just jumped into it.
I'm assuming NBC is going to do the same with the Prem. I don't think they're going to lose that TV money. So
absolutely not. There's too much there. Arsenal City will be, I think, the second game that Wednesday. Was it Villa?
The early game is Sheffield Villa.
Ooh, our boys and our Chris Wilder boys.
Yes. Yeah, these were the 2 games that unfortunately were unable to be played right as the pandemic was beginning. So they got to get them squeezed in and made up before they can fire back off 3 days later. So talk about that heavy schedule. Here's the start right off the jump.
Exactly. I mean, again, when we left off, if people forgot, Liverpool has a pretty commanding lead in the Premier League. And at this point, people are still like, well, here's Liverpool's fate. I'm like, fate? They basically have that baby wrapped up already.
Yeah, I mean, unless something crazy happens. We've been talking about that months ago. I mean, they had it wrapped up in January. So
yeah. I was going to say, we've been discussing, all right, that's not a race. We're talking about 4th position. We're talking about relegation. That's going to be the interesting battles moving forward.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like 4th, you got Chelsea right there. You got Spursy. You got Man United. All sniffing. Sheffield's right there. And again, it depends. I mean, especially going forward, Sheffield being so good at home and on the road. Now with these empty stadiums, like, is that going to be a big deal for some of these teams when you're talking about home field advantage, though?
Yeah, and I mean, some of the talks, too, is there may be some neutral sites as well if some places aren't able to. They're even saying that first Liverpool-Everton game may not be played in Everton. They're still not sure on some of these locations. So there's so many variables still, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's kind of like a feeling out phase, I guess, for this. And I guess we'll talk about that with the Bundesliga too, what, they've done, like how the players have felt during, with empty stadiums. Brings it to the poll questions I forgot about to throw in there.
It's still early.
Poll question 1, I said on Facebook, obviously I saw some people in the comments already throwing it out there, what they think about it. Do you agree with the 5 substitution rule? And obviously we'll kind of, throughout the show, we'll kind of, dive into that, what we think. Brian's already said a little bit on what he thinks. I'm going to wait.
Do that.
Just throwing it out there right away. No waiting. I'll kind of give my take later. Again, I'm a person that never actually. I played maybe 2 years of organized soccer, so I've never actually ran the full like 90 minutes of a game. So it's hard for me to speak on, but I'm just off the top of the head. Also on our Twitter, YouTube, with obviously empty stadiums are going to be a thing for who knows how long, foreseeable future, at least this year. In the Bundesliga, some teams have pumped in fake crowd noise during games. So I pose a question, do you like certain teams pumping in the fake crowd noise? Agree or disagree?
I'll wait. I'll wait. I won't jump
All
the
I'm
gun
going to
on that.
say is watching the Bundesliga, and obviously if you're new to the show, I'm a Borussia Dortmund supporter, so the first game we played at home, nothing, just crickets. And then that Bayern game, they actually threw in the crowd noise to make it seem like that, you're playing for first place, like a big match. So I just thought that was kind of funny that they they basically picked and choose like what matches they're going to pump in the noise. So as we go along through the show, and a thing to think about, do you like that? I know a lot of the English are very stubborn, so a lot of those people aren't going to like the fake crowd noise. A lot of people will be like, "Yo, what the hell?"
I was gonna say I have some mixed reviews. I guess when we get to that point, I'll kind of go on both. I can kind of take both sides of it. So
yeah, I mean,
there's definitely. I mean, we might as well get into it now. Then to me, watching the game this morning, if any sport I think can get away with it, soccer's probably the best sport to do so.
Right.
Because if you've been to or watched a game, especially been to, you realize that from start to finish of that game, except maybe a 10, 15-minute little throat break at halftime, the chants are going, the drums are going. These are all stuff that you can find on recorded loops. I mean, they don't change. It's kind of fitting. Watching this game this morning, this Bayern and this Leverkusen game, I don't know. It almost didn't seem unnatural. Like it sounded. Whoever's running them sounded. I mean, they were pretty on point as far as keeping the chants going, killing the noise when Bayern got their 3. Just throw that out there.
Of course.
Before the half, had to put that out there. Got real quiet in there. They shut
the
noise off.
Jab.
I do have the Bayern pants on. You guys just can't see them today. I'm not standing up. I do have pants on. They are my Bayern pants.
Damn Bayern pants.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. Back in like when NBA and certain were doing it, I guess there could be an advantage and disadvantage. But I feel in soccer with the open air stadiums and the fact of that there's generally constant noise anyway, whether there's people there or not, I thought it was pretty good. It made it a better watch for me hearing that in the background.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I thought it was good. You have to have something, I feel, to at least or at least have the players, feel somewhat normal, like they're in a game. And maybe that'll help. Maybe they don't even notice it. I don't know. But as a viewer, I think it sounds pretty sick. And the guy, like you said, you got to be on point. Because you get a corner or you get a clearance or, the away team has the ball for too long and they'll pump in that whistle, backtracking, like, yeah, all right, let's get the ball. That's pretty cool. Now, whether the Premier League is going to, adopt that, are they taking notes of what, the Bundesliga has sounded like? what it's looked like. You know, I guess this is a
I
tie-in
mean, honestly,
to
I can hope that all these, yeah,
like a tie-in to
I hope all
obviously.
these leagues are taking note of what the Bundesliga is doing. They've been doing a great job so far.
Yeah, I thought it's been good. I mean, and also it gives people that might not, know the Bundesliga. I know earlier, a certain website put out a thing, how do you pick your favorite team in the Bundesliga? Because a lot of people don't watch. And they had this like ridiculous like pyramid scheme of, what's your favorite color? What this? Do you like a certain mascot? Do you like goats like Cologne? Just stupid things like
Yeah.
it's getting some exposure for the Bundesliga, which is great for some
Oh,
people,
absolutely.
that
It's
don't watch.
fantastic.
Because a lot of people just know Bayern from Bayern because they're a
And I
powerhouse.
figure, there's a lot of reasons to pick a lot of different teams too.
Right. And again, like I randomly probably 10 years ago when Dortmund, I'm not going to say I was a front runner or bandwagon when Dortmund did the double, they won the German Cup and they won the league. But I remember my brother showing me, the highlight tape from the 2011 Dortmund season, and I just like fell in love the way that young players like a young Mats Hummels, a young Gundogan,
Yeah.
a young Lewandowski, like all these dudes that have gone on to be great, outside Dortmund. And I just fell in love with
Yeah.
that team. Not the greatest color. Yellow's not like I don't look good in yellow, but
I like the black and yellow, but
yeah, the black and yellow, it's pretty sweet.
my
But
ties to another sporting team.
yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting to see, I guess, what the Prem's going to do. But I mean, the fact that it's back and they have, a concrete date in place is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good sign for everybody, I think. To see these leagues starting to put something on paper and try to cement a solid comeback with as little hiccups as possible.
Right.
Is another thing.
I mean, not to get too heavy into like American sports, but I mean, that's what we're hoping for
Yeah.
with some of these, It's like get something on paper, have a plan.
Well, speaking of that, I guess that's a good segue. Man, we haven't had a good segue in months.
I know, right?
I was just going to mention our boy Yedlin. There was a story on how his grandfather, I guess, contacted him, and as they were discussing return to play, and he basically told him like, don't fear returning to play. You're a lot better off in Europe anyway than you are here. So,
Yeah.
so that's they seem to have kind of figured out a way to get things back on track again. Hopefully, I mean, Germany was hit pretty hard by COVID, and I mean, it seems now they're about a month into this, and you haven't heard anything too crazy as far as failed tests by players or any big need for players to leave teams yet or anything like that. So that's a positive sign.
Yeah, I mean, that's good that you brought it up because obviously the reason, why we've had this long break is because of, COVID. And, when Germany first got hit, they were smart and shut it down immediately.
Yeah,
That's why they were able to play right now before anybody else.
Because everybody actually listened. It's
Right.
amazing what happens when people listen.
I forget what some high power in their government is like not a scientist, but something like that. Some of she or he studied medicine, And once it happened, they knew, like, all right, let's shut it down now. We're not going to fuck around. Like said in the U.S., like, oh, it's just nothing. We'll just it's just this fake thing. No, Germany was like, no, that's it. We're shutting it down right away. I don't care, fake or not. And the Bundesliga has been back for 3 weeks. And in America, we're still wondering, hey, when are sports coming back? But
yeah, I guess we've gotten news on 2, which it sounds like they're in the right process between basketball and hockey. So that's a start, I guess.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see how those go.
Later we will discuss a little bit of the MLS of, I guess, what they plan to do. But, I mean, I guess, again, for all you Barcelona, Real Madrid fans out there, La Liga has a start date as well. I believe they are next Wednesday, the 11th. I think I saw La Liga, June 11th has the first game.
Yeah, I think they're the 11th, and Serie A is what, 13th or 15th, somewhere in that realm. They're something right behind them too.
June 20th.
I wanted to 20th. Okay.
But I mean, go ahead.
No, I was looking at our comments. I was just going to touch on. We've been getting a lot of comments.
The comments, yes. What's up, everybody? Soccer's back, man.
Sorry, I dropped there for a second. I was checking our chat.
See, that's what I like to see from YouTube. I don't know shit about soccer, but I'm here to learn. See? Yeah. That's what we are here to do. We're here to spread knowledge. We've been saying that since day one, right?
Yeah, man. We have a question about the trades. Don't be too excited for trades. I don't think that's necessarily going to be what everybody thought it was going to be. They're going to probably just get back to some normalcy.
Trades? Yeah.
Yeah. There was a big discussion, I guess, in the downtime, if like more straight trades as opposed to transfers was going to become a thing. But I don't see that happening.
It's going to be tough. I mean, especially, I think, if Damien's talking about the MLS, I don't see much trades going on this year at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, MLS was one league that, at least had some more trades. I mean, you don't often see moves like I guess the one that's always talked about is the Alexis Sanchez-Mkhitaryan deal. I mean, that's like, it's not common where players and money are being switched at the same time between teams.
Right.
There were some talks between Atletico and Arsenal with Lacazette, and some potential trade there with William Parate, but it's kind of all getting shut down now that we're getting back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, the MLS, again, we'll kind of go into that of what their plan is, but at this point, I don't see anything major trade movement-wise happening. I think the roster that you have is going to be the roster that you got, unless you want to bring in somebody during the maybe European window when that opens up. But, I mean, who the hell wants to come to fucking America right now anyway?
Exactly. Well, I can tell you one guy who's going to be leaving America. Good old Alexander Katai from the
Galaxy. I was going to say, yeah, man.
He got cut after his wife spat off some racial things on the internet. So the the Serbian national will be most likely heading back to Serbia and will no longer be with the Galaxy.
Yeah. This was going to come up at some point, Mr. Katai.
Yeah.
But, yeah. For those who don't know the story, I mean, it's been pretty documented, obviously, with everything that's going on. Alexander Katai, he goes from the Chicago Fire to the LA Galaxy. And recently, his wife just goes off on this crazy racist rant. And obviously, the Galaxy, putting the Galaxy in a tough spot, an extremely tough spot. And obviously, it came out, I think, yesterday, right, that they mutually parted ways.
Yeah.
So Mr. Katai will be going back to Serbia, like Brian said. He will not play another lick of soccer probably in his life, I would say. I don't know who would pick up.
I'm sure some Serbian team will.
Yeah. Some northern Italian team would pick him up.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, look at that. You segued me again. Speaking of northern Italians, Balotelli's contract terminated.
Yeah?
Yeah, they terminated his contract today because he was basically refusing to train since Italy has opened up their training. He's been unhappy. Clearly, we've talked about earlier this year.
Yeah.
With everything going on. And I guess the latest was he had gotten a doctor's note to miss another 6 days or whatever due to flu-like symptoms. And they basically said enough is enough. We're releasing of your contract. They tried to do it mutually apparently a couple of weeks ago, and it was not happening. So now they've gotten their lawyers involved, and Balotelli's a free man. So maybe he'll
oh man,
he'll make another move. Believe it or not, he's only 29 years old, which is really hard to believe.
You honestly would think the man is like 30 something.
He's pushing 40 in my book some days. Like he's been around forever.
He bursted on the scene at that. What World Cup was that? That was 2 World Cups ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're looking almost 10 years ago now.
The 2014 World Cup, I guess, where he took his shirt off and everybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With his blonde frohawk.
Yes. Looking like a chiseled god.
Yes. He's still one of my favorites, and I absolutely despise Italian soccer, but Mario, I love you.
I mean, it opens the door to the MLS, absolutely. I mean, Damien said.
Come right to Red Bull. We need a striker, bad.
Damien said, idiot. That's correct. Idiot is the first word. Yeah, palm tree talk, Tommy.
Yes.
You know what? I would hope. Do you think Balotelli would play in the MLS? I don't even know if any team would put up with that shit. Great player, but one of those guys that just, dude's a head case, man.
He is. I don't know if. Yeah, I mean, especially with the. I don't want to get too into it. You know, we have all our views and stuff. But with the unrest, in this country especially, and what that man's been through racially in Italy and what he's dealt with, I don't know if he wants to come here either right now. You know, he might.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can talk about this, you know, for our red card segment. Obviously, we both have probably something to say, but we've talked about it from the beginning. I talk to everybody I know. I'm like, you think racism is bad in the U.S.? Try playing. I mentioned this on our Instagram post that I put up. It's been going on for years in soccer. Guys are getting abused on the field, racially abused on the field.
Yeah, in the middle of the game.
While playing, yeah.
By a chanting crowd of 40,000 people.
Right.
So It's everywhere, and I commend a lot of these Europeans countries for taking a stand through all this too. Obviously, it's there's been some stuff in England. All these Bundesliga players, a lot of them are recognizing your boy Sancho.
Yep.
With his hat trick the other day, and
under the shirt,
having that written on his undershirt, and I mean, I commend everybody for kind of stepping up through all this, and it's not just opening up eyes and a light in this country, but worldwide.
Right.
And if this is the platform, if it takes this sport and this game to help with that, then that's fantastic. And just I give more credit to this sport, and maybe that'll help it grow even more in this country. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a nice kick in the ass because in Europe, like we said, it's been happening in soccer for, especially this year. It was really bad. I feel like every show that was like something in our hot topics, like, oh, in this, league, somebody said something. In this league, somebody said something. It was just every show. And now that it's in the forefront in America, and you see, like you said, protests in England and France, for God's sakes. The French are backing this. It says a lot. So hopefully, it's a kick in the ass to some of these countries, Italy, to actually do something and not just have some fake-ass anti-racism campaign. And remember, they fucked it up even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's been a nightmare over there this year alone, let alone in history. So, yeah. So, our man Balotelli.
Yeah, I'm sorry to go off like
no, it's okay. It was good. We knew it was going to come up sooner or later.
I know. It's just
it segued right into the contracts being terminated, and it was time.
Right. Thank you, Damien, for I think that was Damien. Yes, Damien, thank you for bringing that up because I think everyone was waiting for us to crack it back.
And Tom, you're 100% right. Baseball should take notes.
Who would have thought? Soccer is the first sport back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I said, well, outside of what? WWE and MMA and NASCAR. Good old NASCAR made it back, but first contact sport. And yes, for all of you, Americans, soccer is a contact sport. There's a lot of contact.
Look up some highlights of some nasty
tackles. Put a game
tackles.
on, yeah. Download, watch some videos. You've had the opportunity. You've had the time.
A lot of time, man. A lot of downtime. And this is, again, circle the wagons back. It's a perfect time for people to get into the Bundesliga. It's good soccer. I'm telling you.
Want something to watch? Yeah, you want.
People think the Prem is the best league. Absolutely. Hands down, quality, a league. If you're getting into soccer, watch the English Premier League. Absolutely. But the German Bundesliga is very close.
Especially,
so it's different, but it's good.
Yeah, if you want goals, and look at that. People complain, soccer's boring. It's a 1-0. It's a 0-0 draw. Since Bundesliga's returned, Dortmund's had a 4-goal game, a 6-goal game. Bayern's had 2 5-goal games. Leverkusen's had a couple high-scoring games. So you're getting action. You're getting scoring. There is maybe a little bit more between your top 5 and your bottoms. A little
that's the thing. I think people are going to argue like, oh, the German Bundesliga is too top-heavy, which you might have an argument for. Absolutely. When you have a team that's just spending money and can attract, like if you say Bayern to anybody, like I said earlier in the show, you say Bayern to your, average fan, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I know that team, just because of notoriety.
It's like knowing the New York Yankees. I mean, they just, it is what it is. But there's other teams. I broke down the top 5 going into today. Bayern, obviously, with their 4-0 start since the return. is in the lead with 67 points, plus 58 in goal differential. But Dortmund's not far behind. They're at 60.
Yeah,
Leipzig has kind of shit the bed in their return, going 2-1-2.
Red Bull
A couple
Leipzig.
bad draws for them. They're sitting at 58. And then you got what's their names? Who was I telling you before? That's going to be missing. They're playing Bayern next week. Gladbach. They're at 56. And Leverkusen's at 56. So, I mean, there's teams that are close.
It's close. I wouldn't. It's just hard. I mean.
Yeah, the bottom teams are bad. The bottom teams right now are
right.
bad.
Dortmund beat Paderborn 6-1, and Paderborn is going to go. They're going to get relegated this year.
They're definitely getting relegated, and I guess the unfortunate thing is the other two that are bottom right now are Werder Bremen and Dusseldorf, which both house two of our better Americans. So,
which, yes, that is honestly, it's the title's to Bayern. Dortmund shit the bed when they had head-to-head last week, and that was their chance to sort of inch closer. It would have been 3 points behind, and maybe Bayern trips up down the road, but they're not relinquishing a 7-point lead at this point.
Yeah, I guess not. And yeah, I mean, if you look at the game this morning, Leverkusen got off to a nice 1-0 start. Still questionable. I know it was actually ruled offsides and was actually overturned. It was very close.
Right.
But then Bayern just does what Bayern does and takes a 3-1 lead at halftime.
They didn't score, man. It's ridiculous.
You're not stopping that scoring. I'm sorry. There's too much firepower.
Like we were talking about off air, just the depth that Bayern has is just unmatched. When you could bring Coutinho, Philippe Coutinho, yes, for all you Premier League guys out there, that Philippe Coutinho, who went from Liverpool to Barcelona, mind you, who couldn't see the field at the Camp Nou, is now on loan, I believe, at Bayern Munich. Yes, that Philippe Coutinho is coming off the bench for Bayern Munich.
Yeah. And there's been links to Arsenal, but they've been said that's going to be impossible to pull off.
Speaking of that, going to a little transfer news. For my Chelsea boys, hey, all my Chelsea boys, Joe, if you're watching, miss you, bud. Timo Werner from Red Bull Leipzig in the German Bundesliga pretty much signed his contract to Chelsea.
It's like,
unless Liverpool can swoop in there and steal them out from underneath their nose.
We're about 91% on Chelsea, I would say. But don't ever count Liverpool out, I guess, at this point.
And again, he doesn't. Why would Liverpool need any of the three strikers up top? They don't need anybody.
I know.
Unless Mane leaves.
Yeah, but you don't even. I mean, you got guys like Origi sitting there that are better than 80% of the Premier League that never.
And they have Minamino that they signed just sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
But
they got firepower. they don't really need
ridiculous.
Timo.
I
just really don't want you to get Timo, but I guess it's happening.
So if people don't know, watch Timo Werner's highlight tapes on Red Bull Leipzig in the German Bundesliga. Young German, I think he's 25, maybe.
Yeah,
still fairly young.
That range, yeah, he's
pretty good striker. Likes to play with two up top, which is perfect for Chelsea. He can play with Tammy. Tammy can hold up play. Timo Werner likes to play in behind, so I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Roman can get it done.
If you add Chilwell as well, which is a big talk, and that Chelsea team's starting to look a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, with the transfer ban, it just makes Roman be like, yes, I'm going to spend like $200 million now.
Yeah.
He's got money in the bank, man.
They do. They do.
But another kid that we talked about off air, Kai Havertz. This young man, 20 years old, just bossing it for a Leverkusen team who is good Leverkusen team, but I want to know from everybody out there, if you know this young man, Kai Havertz, young German, where do you think he would fit in best? And I guess I'll throw that to Brian as well. What do you think, bro? You think he's going to Spain? You think he's going to the Premier League? I mean,
at 20, he may end up in Spain before the Prem. I hope that's not the case. Sometimes at that age, though, that's the next stepping stone between Bundesliga and the Prem. Some guys will make that step, or France, any of those other three, France, Italy, or Spain. But I would love to see him come to the Prem. Again, my team, I don't think he's probably even in the talks, because why would you go after one of the 20-year-old young players in the world? Let's go after a 32-year-old guy that's at the end of his career instead. But yeah, I would love to see him in the Prem. He's the number one goal scorer in the Bundesliga since the return.
right.
He's got 5 goals in 4 games since they've been back. He actually had the day off today. He was up in the crowd in the Bayern Munich Leverkusen game, I believe. I don't know if it was a card thing or if it was just a rest. Figuring it was
That's
a good day to get
surprising.
him
Against
rest.
Bayern, they would rest him.
Yeah, I didn't see the pregame to see why. I didn't really have time to look into it as I was prepping for the show. But I did see him sitting there with a mask on, not looking thrilled as Bayern came back to take a lead. So
throttling.
But yeah, I mean, the kid's absolutely incredible. I mean, I was making a list of all these, what I feel are the top players in that league this morning, and he stood out with the 5 goals since coming back. You mentioned France and the kid Thurman from Gladbach. He's got 4. Who else? A couple of your guys.
Julian Brandt.
Portugal. Guerrero.
Rafi. Yeah, Rafi Guerrero's solid, man. Starting left back for Portugal.
Yeah, he's got 3 goals. He's coming back
to
buddy. Play. So that's huge.
I mean, there's a lot of good players.
Really, your Owls came back, but he's been quiet.
Yeah. And I mean, I saw on our show, I guess the show package I saw for us this morning, our boy Aaron Holling was on it. And he sat out last game. He was hurt, but he'll be back. He'll be back in full force. And I know we talked about him a lot before this whole thing happened. He's still scoring goals. I know before, I don't know if we talked about this, but the Champions League game, which I don't want to get too deep into that, but when that comes back, that should be interesting. Oh, I want to talk. Let's look at some of these questions for the boys. Which EPL team to fill 3 spots besides Liverpool or City? We've been saying Sheffield for how long, dude? We've been on the Sheffield bandwagon since the start.
Yeah, that was you especially. I mean, that was your pick out of the 3.
My sleeper pick, yeah.
Yeah, I was going for the Canaries. They they fell hard. They flew into that mine shaft, as we said, and never came out.
Not coming back, bud.
So,
yeah.
And to answer the question, my internet, I guess, was dropping a minute there, so I missed. But would you see Neymar playing in the Prem or MLS? I don't see Neymar. Neymar is soft, and Neymar likes that little cushion of PSG.
Yeah. I'm going to say no for either, Damien.
Yeah. No. Maybe MLS late in his career. He's still young. Everybody forgets. He's another one that's been around for a lifetime, but, you know.
Yeah. I mean, when he burst on the scene at like 16.
Yeah.
And 10 years go by, it's like, oh, shit, you're only 26 still.
Yeah.
But honestly, no, I do not see Neymar playing in the Premier League. That league is way too physical for his frail self.
Oh, he would get tossed around. He'd be crying every week. He'd be a target. You know that.
He would probably be injured in like week 1.
Oh yeah. He's soft.
You see some of those big center backs just come in and wreck him.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Target on back easily. I know if I was playing, I'd be like, yep, that's the guy.
Yeah, that first dive in the Premier League, you're getting your ankles stepped on the rest of the day. You're getting kicked. The
ref would be like, all right, get up.
Yeah.
When he's rolling around like 3 tumbles on the floor.
Yeah. Still some of the best videos ever created of the Neymar dive tumbles.
He just keeps going.
Countryside.
He's like in space.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, Neymar. No, he's fine in France where he's just bossing things around. Where he can win titles. He'll go back to Spain at some point.
Probably.
And then he'll retire. Maybe the MLS calls if the money's right, I guess. If the MLS is at that point, when
he'll play 2 years in Miami, if
Bex will get him to play.
If the MLS can hold it together here,
yeah,
they're very lucky to get that CBA done, or they would be in dire straits, I would say, without being able to get that done.
I agree.
But
let's talk about the Yanks abroad before we go crazy on the MLS.
Yeah. Let's talk about our boys playing at the highest levels.
The boys in the red, white, and blue. If you guys have been watching our show from the start, you know that our feelings about Mr. Greg Berghalter are, not great. Us losing to Canada was a pretty low point in the U.S. men's national team history.
Yes.
Now, with everything that got canceled this summer, as far as the Gold Cup goes, we got the 2022 World Cup coming up. And I was thinking this in my head when I was thinking about what to talk about today. How does that impact, like, the 2022 qualifying? Because I think that was supposed to start in September. Now, whether other teams are allowed to travel to the U.S. and vice versa,
yeah, all this is still. Well, I mean, we lost the Olympics too. It was supposed to be,
and the Euros.
In this past Olympics, they had a squad picked. Some good young players were going to be showcased there and give him an opportunity, I guess, to play around a little bit more with some lineup. So as of now, they're moved to next year. So it's still ahead of all of that. But these are all things that when it comes to player development and picking a team, that could be some hiccups along the way. So I think if he's smart, he's watching as much Bundesliga as we are and keeping an eye on his guys over there and using that as a rating of performance.
Right.
I
mean, he's got to get off his high horse of just selecting MLS players. You just can't win like that. I'm sorry. If you're going to exclude, like the German Americans like Timmy Chandler, John Brooks, just to name two, you have a problem.
Yeah.
If you keep picking Par Areola, you have a problem. That's an issue you need to address. He's not the best player at that position.
No.
And I can go off on a crazy rant because I haven't talked about it in so long.
Oh, dude,
it's just stewing up in my mind. Like, why?
And I think a lot of the not saying we're by any means experts, we like to think we are, at least when it comes to a lot of this and these quote unquote other experts. None of us are picking the lineup that man's picking. And I'm sorry, but the lineups he's picked haven't worked. I mean, you're squeaking out 1-0 wins against teams that we should be dominating. You're losing or drawing teams that we should easily be beating at this point in time in 2020 with the youth movement in American soccer and all the good young talent we have, and you're running out guys that haven't done it, and they've had their opportunities, and it's time to part ways with those guys. Like the loyalty's got to go out the window, and you got to get your best players on the field, a mix of veterans and young players with no excuses. There's no excuse that we can't be a top 10 power in the world in this sport with all the people we have and the development that they're trying to put together in this game. So,
I mean, the quality's there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it. The development, all these guys are going, piggybacking again. My favorite word today, piggyback. The Yanks abroad, man. You see Josh Sargent. He's playing at Werder Bremen. You see Weston McKennie. He's starting for a Bundesliga team at defensive midfield.
Yeah, it's Schalke.
Tyler Adams is starting for Leipzig.
If he can stay healthy.
He's another guy. We need him on the field.
Yeah. Well, McKennie, Schalke scored 1 goal since they've been in 4 games. Since they've been
great header by him.
It came from McKennie. Like you mentioned earlier, Gio Reyna, 17 years old. Father was one of the best players to ever play in the U.S. uniform, I would say.
I would say definitely top 5 for.
As much as I don't ever want him near the coaching ranks.
Get him away.
I don't hate Claudio Reyna. I just don't want him as our coach.
Nah. He makes a great father.
Zach Steffen was playing some solid goal for Dusseldorf. Now, he's been banged up and he's been out for a while. He only played 17 games this year, and missing him, they have struggled. But when in his 17 games, for a bad defensive team, he was second in the Bundesliga at that point with 67 saves. So missing him has been hurting them. This kid, what is it? Yanese is how you pronounce it. Ulysses.
Yeah.
The one from Mexico who actually chose the U.S. He's been playing with Wolfsburg. He hasn't made any first team time yet. But he's on the team. He's been playing with the second team. I mean, the talent's there, but they're the guys that need to be in our lineups here.
Right. It is pretty much a crapshoot, like Damien has said on the comments here. Like a Star Wars saga. It's back and forth, man. You don't know. You just don't know what the man is thinking in his head as far as relying too much on his MLS pool rather than going to people that have actually played world-class players week in and week out.
Yeah.
And that's going to be an issue. That's a
Yeah,
huge.
they need to clear that. Like I said, Jesse could take the job.
Yo, how about this? Jesse Marsch is in line for the Dortmund job.
I know that's great, but
Lucien
then
Favre is leaving.
that's great, but it's not great because if he takes that job, that's just longer. He's not going to be able to be the U.S. coach. So maybe that's the last step he needs for the U.S. to realize. I don't know.
I think we all would love Jesse Marsch as the coach to lead us to greatness, but
so many leagues. He's not just an MLS guy. He's been in Austria. He's been in Germany. He's led the Red Bull to some significant wins. No championships, but some significant wins. Yeah, I mean the guy knows talent.
he's a winner.
He's a winner everywhere he goes. Yeah, so
Yeah, I don't know. It's obviously it's still 2 years away, but I mean it's something to think about with some of these kids getting the playing time. I mean Pulisic, he was the leader of kind of breaking away. Obviously, he was good enough to play at Dortmund when he was 17 himself.
yeah,
And he's just kind of like paving that way for, Clint Dempsey as a coach. I would like that, actually.
you would or wouldn't?
I would, actually, because we've mentioned this before. I miss that Clint Dempsey passion on the field.
He did bring passion.
The man was a warrior out there. He didn't give a shit.
Played at some high levels.
He was at Fulham for a good minute.
I don't think you can come right off and jump into the head coaching role, but
No.
to be an assistant and to be around the team would be a big plus. I think they need to find a way to get a lot of these vets back around the team, like Donovan and Dempsey and guys, keep Altidore around. Altidore doesn't need to be on the pitch, but he should be around the team.
Right.
Bradley's another one. His time on the pitches should be done, but it doesn't mean he shouldn't be around the team, helping develop, helping, teach some of these young players.
Yeah, I think Mikey's time is done. I think we've seen Tyler Adams and Weston good enough to play that holding midfield role.
Yeah. And I mean, we've talked about getting a guy like Serginho Dest, more time. Another one that's, playing on some of the best levels. He's out of Ajax soon.
Yeah, he's a hot commodity.
There's some big teams linked to him. So,
I mean, the plan is great. There's a lot of kids in place that if we put a team together for 2022, I think we would be decent.
Yeah, if we put a team together. I don't know what
me and you. Yeah.
Yeah, like what's he?
Not Greg.
Who's he bringing? That's the question. Who's he bringing? Who's he not? Who's he going to leave off? Who's he going to favor that shouldn't be favored at this point in their careers? They've had their opportunities. They're not a world-class player. They're a nice player.
Sure.
They might be a top MLS player, but it doesn't mean you're a world-class. You're not going to be able to compete with some of these other countries. We need the best of the best of the best.
Exactly. And a good step, I don't know if this was during the last time we had a show, but the U.S. Soccer Federation let go of Greg Berhalter's brother, who was on the board.
Good.
Which is a good step.
Yeah.
But
one down, one to go.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what qualification brings and how that's going to shake out. Again, with COVID going on, it's just so hard to shake out what's the format going to be. Like, is it going to be a condensed qualification? You just don't know at this point. We're just waiting on everything kind of fall in place.
And I mean, especially with some of these South American countries now that are becoming avid hot spots. And I mean, there's no timetable on some of them. Look how bad Brazil and Mexico are right now.
Yep.
And they're two teams that have to be in play when it comes to this sport. They're two of the best teams in the world. How are they going to be able to get themselves in a position to where other countries are going to feel comfortable playing a team of guys from that country?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not playing a team of Brazilians. I'm not playing a team of guys from Mexico with the way things are going on down there. Definitely not setting foot on their soil. Maybe somewhere in a neutral site with testing and all that, but it's only time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's really crapshoot to see what's actually going to happen and unfold. But I guess to tie a bow on the old boy, we still have 2026 when we host. We get automatic qualification. So if that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And if we don't get 2022, then soccer as a whole in the U.S. might just have to cease to exist.
Yeah.
It'll be a long
I hope
way
not.
back.
Like I said, I think being the first sport back is going to at least help a little bit here. I'm seeing some names even in our chat that I've never seen before, so maybe we even have a few new viewers that might be interested. Just so you guys know, too, there's games again today at 12:30. Bundesliga games. If you want to pick one up to watch, there's a couple good ones today and tomorrow. So,
I mean, yeah, I think we would both, campaign for give it a shot. Even if you haven't watched the Bundesliga at all or you don't know who to root for, just watch a game. If you like the style of play, you like a certain team, you like their color, for God's sakes, It's nice to follow a league that maybe you didn't think that you would actually enjoy. Like everybody's on the Prem, which, again, awesome league, but there's a lot of talent you're missing in Germany. Where do you think half these guys come from? The Prem to.
Yeah, it's a big stepping stone.
It's a great stepping stone. So, but want to talk a little MLS plan of action, I guess?
Yeah, I guess that's the best move here. Again, from what I've read, it's looking like almost like a World Cup style tournament type thing. We're gonna have
like groups. A round robin.
Yeah, kind of deal. I guess some group play and then go into like a round robin type tournament. Also projected to be down in Orlando in the Disney ESPN site. Teams are allowed to train in the States now. If you're local, little at a time, a couple players at a time are allowed to be showing up to these facilities and training. So, it's exciting. It's different. It's like all these sports, everybody's going to have to understand the ones other than like the ones that are almost finishing up, all these other leagues. I mean, MLS was just starting. We're 2 games in? Maybe some teams had 3.
Yeah. 2, 3, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were at the very beginning stage. It's not like we had almost a whole season wrapped up like the Prem and the Bundesliga, and they're just trying to close these out. We were just at the beginning and kind of came to a halt. So I like the idea for this year of just kind of accelerating it, finding a different way to get these games in and have a season.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think any season at this point, I guess, is a win. Does that make any sense to have some MLS, campaign? It would have sucked if they just scrapped the whole thing. So if this is what they think is the best play with, trying to be in just one condensed area instead of the traveling and You got to test all these guys, and I mean, you still have to, but
Yeah.
I guess they're just kind of going back to what, the NBA is going to have to do. Come to the field, test, leave the field, test, yeah. You're in a hotel pretty much, away from everybody,
Yeah.
maybe your family. It's going to be different. But as long as they have something in place, I mean, it's not quite set in stone yet, is it? This is just kind of like
It's not solid. Basically, the CBA needed to get readdressed first because, like we said, it was not ratified back in February. It was agreed upon, but once COVID hit, it never got ratified. As my boy Dax came out, he was not thrilled. Basically, they kept moving this deadline on it. And he said once the deadline was moved once or twice, you knew they were kind of full of shit. That
right.
was his exact words. And now they've kind of been forced to, if they want to put this tournament in play in July, they had to get it done. So that's done. That's agreed upon. Again, some players are not thrilled by it, but they've still found a way to agree upon it and to get the sport going again, unlike baseball, who who still can't seem to. So big ups to the MLS one way or another, whether it's the players compromising, whether it's the owners compromising. Some guys might be losing money. Some guys are taking a hit. Everybody is. That's the way of the world right now, unfortunately. They understand how important it is for that sport, especially in this country, to get back on the field. So they're finding a way. Again, I don't think there's a set in stone exactly how this is all going to work, but it sounds like it's definitely happening in the month of July. And yeah, so as we know more, probably by next show or the next two shows, we'll have more of a layout, I would think.
Yeah, I think as time goes on, they'll come up with something, but I think the important thing is they just want to get the CBA done so they don't have to go, into a lockout, basically.
Yeah, it sounds like we're good for the next 5 years. So that's big.
And again, this year is just a different beast as far as, playing, getting paid as well. You're going to take a hit. But
everybody's got to compromise from ownership on down.
That's
the biggest thing is getting back on the field. And if there's certain individuals that aren't interested, then they can sit out, and that's going to open the door to somebody else. But there's no saying that once you sit out, nobody's necessarily got to pick you back up either. So
you got to meet in the middle.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing about a lot of sports now. It's like, can we come to something where it's like, all right, we're still going to get paid, we're still going to play. Maybe the owners are going to lose money, baseball, but just find a way to get on the field. Everybody wants it. The fans are itching for it. This is the perfect time, especially for the MLS, to come and play. If they didn't play, you would just be squandering an opportunity to grow the league,
grab your piece of that market share, and maybe you pick up some new fans because you've made the decision to get on the field and play.
I mean, the thing about it now is that every sport, it's going to be so front-loaded because the NBA is playing in July. NHL is coming back. And usually these sports are done and dusted by June. And the MLS isn't used to trying to compete with some of these major sports. Like, do you think that's going to have any impact at all? Or TV deals are going to get all fucked up from MLS standpoint?
I don't think so. I think it's just, at this juncture, it's just one more thing for people to watch. People have been itching to get any type of competition. everybody's a professional gambler now. People are itching to hit those bets, and there's going to be
Yep.
all kinds of stuff you're going to be able to do there. I think just getting on the field for the MLS is a win, no matter what the situation, no matter what they're going to be up against as far as other teams being in their quote unquote playoffs. I think it was a major step for them to get this agreed upon and get something going in the right place.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out and see what kind of everyone's going to be like, oh well, asterisk for the 2020 season, I guess, with whoever wins.
Well, it's perfect for me as a Red Bull fan because we weren't going to do shit this year anyway. So this is a good rebuild year.
I was going to say, well, that's fine. We don't have to have a season. It's okay.
Yeah, get a little hot in the tournament. Who knows? Maybe you do something.
Reese Buckmaster, captain.
Why you gotta bring up Buckmaster? Leave that poor man alone. And no, he better not. If he's the captain of my team, I'm sure this little I know he's not watching. That little FC Cincinnati fanboy would love to hear me bash my own team.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh my God! Talk about? We got 10 minutes before. What a horrible, horrible franchise. What an absolute disgraceful franchise. And every time I say that, all their fans come back, oh, we have support. Great. Good for you. You're supporting one of the worst franchises I've ever seen in sports. You mess up every announcement on social media. You mess up your own coaching announcement to where the guy's thinking it's a joke when it clearly wasn't a joke. It was just your inept ability. And it's not the first time this has happened with that team. They can't win a game. If relegation ever comes to the league, they're going right back to where they came from.
USL.
Yeah. So if any of you FC Cincinnati fans are watching,
so sorry.
You're like this close to Tottenham. You're like that close.
You don't want to be on that side with Brian.
Speaking of, I just found a new Tottenham fan for us too. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I forewarned him before he watches the show, but he seemed that he wasn't scared to watch. So.
We haven't had enough bashing of Spurs on this show today.
No. But they get to come back against Man United, and Ole said he's stepping on the gas pedal for that game. So.
Ooh.
We'll see.
Scared. But yeah.
I guess we never talked about our subs either. We still need to do that.
Yeah, let's hit the poll question before we go tie it off with our red card. But I mean, I think bottom line, I want to say I don't like the sub rule.
You're allowed to say that.
After thinking about it and letting it kind of marinate, as they would say, I don't know. It's good if your team's losing and you need like 3 guys off the bench. Fresh legs, I guess. It works in your, advantage, but I don't know. I'm kind of like old man yells at cloud type shit right now. Like, hey, come on. 5 subs? No. 3. But I don't know. I would like if they just kept it at 3. I don't care. These are world-class athletes that have they run for 90 minutes.
Right.
They probably are the most in shape athlete in the world besides, maybe like a marathon runner. But I think they could handle maybe 2 months off. I mean, you don't think they're not training at home or doing something?
Yeah, most of these guys, at least, especially the higher paid ones have facilities at their homes for the most part. I'm sure some of them had places that they were able to go train that we didn't necessarily hear about.
Right.
I don't know. I get why, again, I guess but I think there should have been more restrictions on it. Like, we're going to do this for the first 2 weeks of the season, or, it's a 3-sub rule, but the additional 2 could be used in case of an injury.
Right.
But I see with that too, you're just going to have guys faking injuries. And then you're going to have more people complaining that it's a sport where people fake injuries. So I get.
And people already think that. So
yeah. So
I think there's too many. In that case, there's a lot of loopholes. To be like, it's like football. You try to slow down a fast, up tempo offense, fake an injury to get a timeout. Soccer, all right. We got 3 subs. Well, if the guy's hurt on the third, you could bring a 4th in, just in case.
Yeah.
But then a guy's tired and he just falls down. Name on.
Well, maybe you find a way for that. They can make the sub, but then the guy has to carry a yellow. I mean, to make it, because now with this fair play rules and all of that, where you get the accumulative yellows and they're turning into reds.
Right.
Maybe that's a deterrent. I don't know. But I'm still mixed on it. Again, I get why they did it for player safety, but like you said, these guys were world-class athletes. 2 months shouldn't turn you completely out of shape. You should still be able to get right back out there and not have to stress it or worry about, a massive injury. I think they could have probably left it at 3 and been okay, especially with the leagues that are finishing, because now you put a new rule into a season that's already been going.
Right.
And it could affect the outcome for certain teams.
Well, yeah.
Teams that might get relegated or not get relegated, or make a top 4, not make a top 4. It is giving an advantage possibly to some other teams. So
you throw, Norwich throws a 5th sub out there at, the last week of the season, and the guy scores a goal and they avoid relegation or something. Like,
yeah,
I guess there's a lot of would've, should've, could've stuff with that, but I don't know. I just feel like there was no need to add a 5th, because these guys are already.
Yeah, it was a weird flex. It was definitely a weird flex.
I think it was just something that they wanted to see. I think it was almost like a fan type thing to see more players involved. I don't know.
It could be, and I mean, it does give an opportunity with these heavy schedules for a guy that may be an everyday starter to now rest in the beginning of a game, and the team know we don't have to burn one of our 3 subs to get this guy in. We can give him a half off and still be able to get him in for the second half. And if we need a sub later down the line, we can still keep our same strategy and get this guy a little extra rest. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily think it's a great thing.
Thank you. It's just different.
Look at that.
I get service.
Look at that. Oh, man, I'm sitting here.
I get the coffee service.
No labels because we can't get them to be a sponsor. But anybody who's watched our show knows what I drink. So
Smart water on deck.
On deck. No Red Bulls today. I had plenty of coffee this morning. So
I say that's early for a ready.
Not for me. You know me. I'm up 6 o'clock every day, ready to rock, ready to start the day.
That's why I love you. But I guess before we jump out, I guess usually if you're new to the show, we usually have a yellow card, red card segment. Just, straight up giving guys like, yo, chill the hell out, or you're done. You're out.
You're done.
And granted, you could give our red card to Katai's wife. Maybe that would be a good yellow.
Yeah. Who said something about? I saw a thing in there, and we were going on a rant, but I couldn't. He said something about.
Yeah, I saw that too. If he
divorcing his wife and trying to keep it same back in the league, but
somebody brought that up, and I was like, I don't think it works like that.
Yeah,
I think he probably had some pillow talk, and she just decided to spew it out. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird fucking world we're living in.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, the yellow's up in the air. I feel like there's not even yellows. It's just reds all around. Katai can get a red, him and his wife. As of now, again, it's an allegation, and we didn't bring this one up, but FC Dallas's goalkeeper, Jesse Gonzalez, also can get a red. He's been suspended on an allegation of domestic abuse. So he's another one that can go red in my book.
Jesse did it.
Yeah, again, it's an allegation. So we don't 100% know, but he has been suspended by FC Dallas. COVID-19, you could definitely get a fucking red card. And obviously,
COVID definitely.
Number one, and we talked about it, like you said, long before all this happened. This has been a hot button in the world of soccer. It's been a hot button in the world as a whole. This whole racism, the inequality, everything that has been going on is just completely and utterly shit. And I feel like at the stage of the world that we're in 2020, we should have been well beyond this, and we weren't. And I hate to say it takes something like this to shed a light for the whole world, but it seems to be, and I hope that this light stays shown, and that this just doesn't get swept under the carpet and forgotten about in a few weeks or a few months, and that this actually serves a purpose and the change is coming.
Yeah, it's just you're right. It's for this to it takes all this instance for somebody to do something and to have change happen. It's sad.
It is.
And I think it's awesome how everyone has been voicing their opinion and standing up. And again, like myself, I haven't been so vocal on it because I wanted to kind of wait on it and to kind of take time to really get all my thoughts together, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, absolutely, white privilege. I have no idea, and I will never know what it's like or will be like, to get in a certain situation by by the color of my skin. Absolutely. And I don't understand, and I never will, but I'm there. I'm standing with everybody. I am, Black Lives Matter. And we've been saying this on this show since we started, right?
Yes, since day one.
We've been asking for the world to do something about it. And now that it's happening, and it's great to see like England doing it, protesting, France, Amsterdam, I saw in their square, they had a huge thing. And we can say all we want, but if things don't change and, actions aren't, gone through, then we're still back to where we were before.
As I always say, actions speak louder than words. And, I don't condone the actions of some of the destruction and things like that. But like many people have said, we understand. I understand where things have gotten, and I think if things are done the right way, that we can continue to grow as a people and get this on track. I mean, FIFA had this anti-racism campaign going back to the beginning of the season, so we know that it's been a problem globally.
Yeah.
So now it's time to fix it. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're crying out for a change, and hopefully the masses that have been protesting and marching, I give everybody credit that's been out there. I'll probably go to my local one tomorrow. It's time, man.
Yeah.
It's time to do something about this, because it's gone on for way too long, and something's got to change, man.
Yeah, bro.
We're there.
I'm
It's
so
been
glad
good,
we
man.
made it back,
Yeah, man. I'm happy that we finally are back, recharging the batteries. I think Brian and I can say, collectively, that we both went to, CSB back in July, and we've been fucking grinding and busting our ass for almost a year now. And I think we just need a little bit. It was a perfect time, we thought, to just kind of cool down and take a little bit of a break. But we're back. We're better than ever, man. And, we just want to thank Tom, and for everybody at A2D, all the boys. We've been watching all the shows, and we love all the guests and everything that's been going on. It's been awesome, the remote shows. So it's only going to go up from here. So we want to help out. So
we're going to work on that guest bandwagon too. So we'll
slide in some DMs.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys, everybody that's been listening. We appreciate you for sticking with us through this whole thing. I know everyone's been itching to talk about something, soccer-wise. So we're just trying to educate and, be that, safe space for everybody, because there's soccer fans, closet fans out there. You just got to speak up, baby.
Yeah. Even our producer, Mr. Ralphie, man, that's how we first met. Little closet soccer fan there. So thank you as well, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Ralphie, on the ones and twos. So we'll see you guys again next Saturday, 10:30. Let's go.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
All right. Thank you, guys. We love you.
Later.